Okay, Nick, today,
We're going camping.
are you ready for part 2 of Theories of Friday the 13th? Ah!
So you mean the theories of Friday the 13th?
Well, folks, if you enjoyed our Pamela and Jason working together video,
All 18 of you.
we're back with a new video. We're moving on to Friday the 13th part 2, which always left one lingering question in the fans of viewers across the world. And that question is, where was the neighborhood watch at the beginning when he's killing Alice? Now, that's actually two things we talk about from this movie. Jason walking in a neighborhood
With a sack on his head.
with a sack on his head should be noted by nosy neighbors looking out the window who should have called the police.
I'm assuming they just didn't have the neighborhood watch, the right ones anyway. So what they needed for a good neighborhood watch is Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, and some random Indian dude that just happens to be an alien.
They would have played dodgeball and threw balls at him.
Or wrenches. Remember, you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Jason finding Alice.
Yes.
The theory that I've read is that Alice went back to the lake, and that's where Jason saw her.
And followed her home. Even though he's on foot and she was in the car. Damn, he walks fast.
Right. Now, there is one thing I read from the novelization. So Jason sees Alice in her car driving away from Crystal Lake after seeing her there. He does go into town, but what they describe in the book is pretty much is he looks all throughout town until he happens to see her car parked out in the neighborhood. So first he goes through the entire town looking for the car specifically, walks through every neighborhood, finally finds her car, and then kills her.
That would make some sense, but the real question I got is how does a girl who most likely hasn't worked in the 6 months that she's been in therapy after the situation buy a house?
That's
the real question.
Another theory to present here. You remember that Steve Christie
Yes.
was the guy from the first movie who was responsible for reopening the lake and all that.
He was also responsible for perving on Alice.
Yes.
Same with Brenda.
Some silly idea online I read was that maybe this is Steve Christie's house that she's just staying at.
And it's still in his name after 6 months of death.
She clearly didn't buy this house. That's all I'm saying. She's staying at someone's house or renting it.
And she's most likely didn't even pay. She most likely isn't working
It's
because she's been in therapy.
It's an Airbnb.
With what money?
1981. I don't know, but
Is this the same Airbnb from Barbarian?
it's weird because, if you're going to rent a place, you wouldn't necessarily rent a house in a suburban neighborhood. You would rent an apartment or something. So it's kind of weird. But clearly, she doesn't own a house near Crystal Lake. And the idea is that she came back temporarily to face her fears. So she's not going to come back and buy a house there.
I'm sorry. That facing your fears after 6 months of what happened is a little jumping the gun, don't you think?
I think at least 7 months.
I think at least a year. Or just don't go back.
Well, if you
Go to a different lake.
remember, too, she had a dream about Jason in the water.
Go to a different lake.
Are you facing your fears if you go to Lake Jimmy John or something like that? I mean, come on.
I mean, it don't matter. At least you're not going to die.
That's true.
You can face your fears about dead people in the water.
She gave away her identity. Well, after you go and see the lake, that's it. Leave. Go back to a different state.
Maybe it was too late.
She hung around town too long, and unfortunately...
Jason got a hold of her and put a screwdriver in her head.
Was it a screwdriver or an ice pick?
Either way. And most likely Jason ate the cat.
Did Jason call her? Who called her?
Jason.
Jason called her on the phone.
Yes. I mean, it can't be Ghostface. You didn't hear Roger L. Jackson's voice just come up through there. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, I got it. Jason sees her car, but he calls the house to see if her voice picks up on the phone. Now he has confirmation that she's living there.
I mean, that's, again, fair, but with what we're supposedly know about Jason at this point is he's not mentally there. Would he have thought about that?
He built a shack in the woods.
No, he found that shack. There's no way he built it. The shack's too run down. It looks like he's been there for a while.
He found it, but he's been successfully living off the land. He's not...
He's a hunter. Doesn't...
You've always tried to convince me that he's smart, all right? Now don't go on the other side. Don't forget the whole Michael versus Jason video. You're on the side of Jason smart. I'm always arguing against it. He's smart enough to do this, all right?
I mean, he's smart enough to be a hunter, but to use a phone? He's never seen a phone.
This is something I should be arguing. You're always on the other side. Why are you now suddenly being all practical? Like, I don't think... I was the one being like, Jason can read? He can read the phone book?
Again, a phone? It's one story of maybe he saw her out the window when she was talking to her mom.
Maybe Jason was near a payphone. He saw someone else use it, and then he realized...
Oh, that's how you use it. Okay.
Where would Jason get money, though? He'd need a quarter for a payphone. He pulled a quarter out of his toolbox.
His mom's body probably still had a quarter to it.
The problem is that it has to be Jason calling because it's too much of a coincidence that she happens to get this person hang up on her at the same time where Jason's outside the house. So.
Right. Which we saw no payphone outside the house.
Yeah, Jason's already in the neighborhood. How is he calling her? Does he have a cell phone in 1981?
No, maybe what had happened is he actually killed somebody else. He broke into a house, killed somebody else, found out that wasn't Alice, and then just started calling random numbers. That would kind of prove the theory that he's still not all mentally there.
I just wish that opening scene makes a lot more sense without the phone call. I just wish they didn't have Jason call her. It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, he also was nice enough to put the rotting meat in the fridge.
Yeah. He did a lot of work while she was in the shower. He got in there, really set the stage. So.
Right.
All right, let's move on to one other mystery of part 2. This is the most common cited mystery in part 2.
I think I know which one you're about to talk about.
Yep.
Why did gravity take the wheelchair dude down those stairs?
Hey, you don't bring up him. That guy should have lived, man.
Why were those stairs so long?
Just bad.
Were those stairs actually in China, and those were the steps you have to walk in order to get to the temple?
I just don't understand the point of that scene. He gets stabbed in the face. That should be enough. Why do you have to show him flying down the biggest set of stairs in the history of stairs?
It's not the history of stairs. Come on. Chinese temples have major stairs.
He went down those stairs forever. What was the point of that? That was just mean-spirited.
I know. I think I know the point of that. Just to hurt your feelings.
Hurt my feelings.
Hurt your feelings.
Because the man was about to be with the girl he liked and everything, and then, boom, here comes a machete in the face, send you down a flight of stairs to add insult to injury, to be like, by the way, I knew you couldn't handle stairs when you were alive, and in death, they're part of your death, too. So, just a diss to all paraplegics.
I'm just wondering if maybe the directors and all that thought that the body was going to fall out of the wheelchair as it was going down instead of stay in the wheelchair as it went down.
No, I read about they had a stunt person doing that, so they had to get someone that could actually do that stunt-wise.
I thought it was a dummy.
No, that's really a person.
Oh, shit.
So he even said that at the very end, it almost fell in a way where he almost broke his neck.
Oh.
But it's a very tricky stunt, but that was all real person.
Well, yeah, it's a tricky stunt because again, if it went wrong, that guy going to die.
And break his neck. If it falls over on the stairs, concrete, probably break your neck. But I think they did it a couple times with a dummy to make sure it could be done with the kind of weight. And then the stunt man was put in there to actually make it look real.
Honestly, they probably should have just filmed it with the dummy.
Yeah, nobody would have been able to tell the difference, I feel like. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're shooting it from the back, not the front.
Yeah. What?
The only difference is the dummy probably would have just slid off.
All right, but the real mystery is what happened to Paul.
I know what happened to Paul. He was sucked in to the void.
The void.
The void.
Explain this void. So
the void is something that causes all types of suffering.
I hate your guts. This is the theories of Friday the 13th, but you just got to take us into silly territory.
Speaking of which, there's a Friday the 13th. I believe this Paul is the same Paul from Halloween 1. The movies connect.
The one who was talking to Annie on the phone?
Yes.
How do you get from Haddonfield to Crystal Lake
easy? It's been a few years, so it's obvious he's now an adult, and now he's trying to open up a camp so he can make money for him and Jenny. Jenny, who he met while doing summer camp in Haddonfield.
So his first girlfriend killed by Michael, his second girlfriend attacked by Jason.
Yes.
Does he then go on to date Alice from Nightmare on Elm Street? Is he going for the trifecta? What's going on? Who's Jacob's father?
Dan.
Paul. Oh, it is Dan, right?
Just disrespect Dan, right, don't you? Holy shit.
Screw Dan. Okay, well.
So there we go. So obviously Paul completely able to get away from a serial killer in Halloween is now having to fight a serial killer
Now, let me give the actual real theory that makes sense. Paul is alive at part 2 because somebody had to call the cops and ambulances to come there. Ginny wakes up saying, "Where's Paul?" They were the only 2 survivors there. Who else would have called the cops?
Muffins.
Muffins the dog cannot speak, and Muffins dog is dead.
Muffins the dog is not dead.
Dead. He disappeared halfway through the movie. He gone. And we know Jason likes to eat dogs with a side of kidney beans.
That's Michael.
Well, Jason eats dogs too.
No, Jason eats other animals. He likes dogs. He likes petting dogs. But dogs are awesome.
What are you
dogs
talking about?
love everybody.
He kills dogs too.
Name one dog.
The dog from part 4.
That dog jumped out a damn window and ran.
We never see it again. That was.
But he lived.
If Jason would have lived, that was going to be tomorrow night's dinner.
Well,
right?
Jason lived in part 6.
Yeah, he probably killed a dog there too. Anyways, I think Paul's alive. The whole scene where Jason comes back at the end and grabs Ginny from the window and all that's all a dream sequence because, as we know from seeing Jason in part 3, he doesn't look like a hippie with a weird long strand of orange hair, looking like Michael from H2O with the orange bedhead. So, my opinion, Paul alive. Your opinion, Paul
Alive, really. Because what evidence do we really have that Paul died?
The writer came out and said Paul's dead.
No. No. Because if that was
at that point, it's just the writer's opinion because
I need to double check the number of kills because I know they say how many kills happened from 2 on the news recording for 3. I know they said how many kills would happen, but I think someone online did the math on that and calculated that Paul must be alive because the numbers don't make sense.
It would be one more if Paul was dead.
One more if Paul was dead. Plus, I don't even think they actually counted Alice's death, who her body was in the shack too.
They never found her body, so they didn't count her.
Her body was in the shack. So picking up Jenny and Paul still alive, they would have went to that shack next. Because then that would also mean another body has to disappear from that count. Because then the one girl who just died screaming on camera is in that shack, and if they never found the shack, her body wouldn't be there.
Did they find Crazy Ralph's body?
Most likely, probably not.
Because Jason would, after killing him, would have taken the body either back of the shack or he does show up though at the end though.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he's in the chase sequence. Like Ginny finds his body. So yeah, okay.
So yeah, they found but either way, it's still
the cop.
The one girl.
The cop got killed in the shack. I don't know.
Cop got killed in the shack, but for some reason he wasn't in the shack. I remember only seeing the mother.
Jason ate him.
Yeah, the mother. The one girl who died screaming, the only girl we see nudity of in that movie. Mm-hmm. And then the decomposing corpse of Alice.
Okay.
And also, real theory. How is the mother's head not as decomposed as Alice's body?
I don't know.
Because after, 5 years and 6 months? Or 4.5 years?
It should be a lot worse.
Yeah. Also, how is Alice's body not as decomposed?
Maybe we'll cover that next time on the theories of Friday the 13th. Ah!